The story of the San Francisco Giants is legendary. In my years as the official voice of the Giants, I've had the privilege to meet countless players and personalities whose passion for this team is only matched by their love for the game. Their stories are intertwined within the fabric of this team's history. They are forever Giants.
Got him. Good changeup. That has been a money pitch today. Wow.
The story of Noah Lowry is one of facing down adversity time and time again. The California native pitched his way to being an All-American at Pepperdine University, and the San Francisco Giants took him with the last pick of the first round in the 2001 MLB Draft.
Whoa, Noah Lowry is ready.
In 2005, Lowry began his career with a 7-0 record, the longest winning streak for any pitcher in San Francisco Giants history.
That's the ballgame.
His 5-year career was a series of ups and downs. He faced the downtimes head-on before injuries would end his baseball career, but not before he would leave his mark on the city of San Francisco. Well, Noah, it's great to see you, and thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
It's my pleasure, yes.
And we're right here in your backyard. You and the family have settled in this area.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a better spot to have a conversation with a better person.
Whoa, cut it out. Thank you so much.
So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you, thank you. We'll get to the family a little bit later, but what we love to do with this show is really have our viewers learn about the journey of our forever Giants, and that's what we'll start with your journey as a Southern California kid.
California's been a big part of my life in general. Growing up down in Ventura County, little town called Ojai. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Some people, Ohio, no, it's Ojai, little town in Southern California. And from there, things really picked up after high school, going into junior college for a year and then Pepperdine in Malibu. And from there, life changed dramatically. That was when I was drafted by the Giants out of Pepperdine. And the journey began into this culture, this family that, at the time you don't see it, you don't really understand it, but, on the other end of it now, transitioning out of the game, it's like an extended family. So,
yeah, you have a different perspective now that you're out of the game. Yeah. Well, tell me a bit about your family dynamic as you were growing up and getting into sports and kind of finding your way. And how did your family support you? And I know your dad had a huge impact on you growing up, and still does, obviously.
Looking back on it, thinking about it, I'm the oldest of four. I've got another brother and two sisters under us, and they were always there. They were always present, meaning like they took us to the games. They got us involved in sports. They provided us an opportunity and an avenue for us to blossom, and they didn't get in the way of that. He opened up our thinking, the ability not to limit ourselves. If you really believe in yourself enough and you're willing to, stick with it and fall down and get back up and persevere and continue to go, then there's the opportunities will open up. And that way of thinking started at a young age. And so for that, both him and my mom, I appreciate that side of who they were for us as kids.
Okay, so let's move on to high school, because this is how I imagine you in high school, Noah Lowry. I imagine you as like a superstar athlete. I imagine you as voted most popular, big man on campus, prom king, all of that. I see all of that in you. Am I on the right track at all?
Yeah, no.
Come on.
No, it's actually on the opposite side of that.
Really?
I just struggled with my identity through high school. Yeah, and wasn't sure kind of who I was. I was carrying a lot of things from childhood into high school. I had said it before, and it's kind of personal. I don't mind talking about it, but for whatever reason, I wet the bed for a long time growing up. Yeah, and so there was a part of me I wasn't sure what that was about,
sure.
And it lasted for a while, and so and it really just eroded my confidence in myself. It was well, who am I? What does this look like? And so, but sports was actually.
That? Did you ever talk to anybody about it, or
no?
You just kept it to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I mean, outside of my parents
sure.
at home, and
yeah.
it's I don't even want to bring friends over. Have if there's a girl I'd like, it was I'll bring her around that, you
Yeah.
know? So didn't have I had a couple friends, and sports was a great outlet for me to just go, like, get away from all that. You know, I was good at that, and it built confidence up in me. And
of
so,
course. Yeah.
yeah, high school it was a lot more like that, actually.
Well, that's good to know because, you know, so many of us struggle with high school. And I know like a lot of our younger viewers would probably appreciate hearing that because I'm sure they're going through the same struggles. All the struggles are different now in 2018, but
I'm sure, yeah.
everybody goes through something in high school. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then so you're finding your way, and you get drafted by the Texas Rangers
I did, yeah.
in 1999.
Yeah.
Were you in high school at the time? Or?
I was in junior college.
Junior
I went
college,
to, yeah, I went to
okay.
junior college for a year. I moved to just not far away, you know, 20 minutes or so down the road, and went to Ventura Junior College, and I got drafted out of there.
But you chose to go to Pepperdine, right?
Yeah, in that, you know, that's an interesting time frame, I think, for athletes in general who are transitioning into sport. Like, how do I decide what I want to do? How do I know if I want to go play professionally, or how do I know if college is maybe the better route for me?
So you felt you needed more time.
Just time.
Yeah.
I felt like time would be a good direction for me to look at, like, not just time on the field at a higher level in Division I sports, but I could also start to put an education behind myself, and you know, just open up my thinking and get into, you know, a new environment. We talked a little bit earlier about just like the belief in myself and who I was. Well, I went into Pepperdine, and I had gotten a full scholarship, and I had put all these, again, made up ideas about who I needed to be all of a sudden. You know, like all these expectations and just weights on my shoulder that I was carrying around.
Right.
Yeah, pressure that I didn't need to, but
That's
I did.
right. Right.
And so, in that, I got in there and I struggled. And I struggled almost that entire first year there. And in that, going into the junior year, I told myself, I'm like, I'm just gonna let it go and just leave it on the field, and whatever happens, happens. Like, I've got to trust in my own abilities. Go out there and I'm gonna give it my best effort. They're not gonna get rid of me. That was a big fear of mine. I'm like, you know, am I gonna lose my scholarship? What's this gonna look like? Because I got pulled as a starter, and so the coach came to me after my sophomore year, and he said, "We're gonna give you another chance to start. It's up to you. You know how you're going to handle that. Your scholarship's safe." And that was really reassuring for me, and that helped as well. It helped sort of lift that weight, and
that confidence is coming back again.
And in that, it was like, okay, I just need to let go of what I'm holding on to here and what I'm making up, and I did. And I went out that next year, and I started off 7-0, and lost one in there, and won another 7, and then lost another one, and that's how it ended up. I ended up like 14-2, and ended up as an All-American. And again, it was just mindset. It was like, if you can let go of what might limit you, and it's easier said than done.
Totally.
But in that, that really allowed me to catapult or springboard into my professional career. Because after that, I was drafted by the Giants, and things took off from there. But had I not letting go of, again, these perceived thoughts, I don't know what would have happened.
Right. So you get drafted, you get called up September 2003?
Yeah.
All right, here you are now.
Cup of coffee, yep.
Here you are. You got your uni on, your big league uni, big league ballpark. What do you remember about that day?
I remember my kneecaps shaking. It becomes like, it goes from being sort of surreal, is this really going to happen, to like, wow, here it is now. We're here, we're in it.
Yeah.
And
what you'd been working so hard for.
Yeah, time sort of slows down at that point for a second.
Okay.
It was like, have you seen the movie The Matrix?
Of course, yeah. Yes.
Neo.
You were in The Matrix.
Bullets are flying by, everything's really slow, and he's just And so, yeah, time just really slowed down for a second. And they were in the race, and so it was like a call up. You're going to get a chance to like maybe get some innings in and just get a look. And it was, everything that I thought it would be and then some.
Yeah.
And not just that, but it was like, oh, I want more of that,
That's right. And you got more of that.
This is everything that, I've worked for. Now I want to go out and I want to apply it, and I want to help our team go out there and win a championship. And mentally, I'm ready to put myself all in, and physically as well. It's like, let's go.
Let's move to 2004, kind of a partial rookie year for you.
Yeah.
6-0, 3.82 ERA in 14 starts. National League Player of the Week in August.
Yeah.
How about that?
August was a good month for me.
It was a good month, right?
Yeah.
You're on top of the world, you must be thinking, right?
Well, yeah.
It's okay, you can say that.
Everything was coming together. Yes, I started 6-0. So it's like, okay, I couldn't think of a better way to start.
Exactly.
A lot of that was team-based though as well.
Sure.
There was times where I could have very easily lost, and our team battled back and put us in a position to win.
That's why we always say it's a team sport.
Beauty of the team game. I mean, it takes a team to bring it together. So, yes, things were coming together, and I was getting the opportunity to just find out what the big leagues was about, and how quickly and how good players were at that level and are at that level. I really appreciated that, like how quickly guys made adjustments and how in tune with their own physical abilities they were, and their ability to make adjustments on the fly. It was here. It started with the mindset, and then it came out of the body after, but yeah.
So you learned a lot from just kind of observing the veteran guys and watching how they approached their jobs. Yeah. Talk about some of those guys, some of those extraordinary teammates you had and the impact they had on you.
I had played with some really good ones.
Yeah.
Right away, I played with Barry, so that's like watching him chase the record down, and just the incredible athlete that he was. It's like, it was just fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. You had a front row seat.
I'm a teammate, yes, but I'm a fan as well, because it's like I really appreciate what you do as an athlete. And especially when he was chasing the record down, it was like he wasn't getting a lot of pitches at the time.
Yeah.
Guys would walk him, and like maybe they pitch to him, and maybe they're trying to pitch.
Chicken dances all over the place.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to pitch around him, but when he does get that pitch, he doesn't miss it. And it's like, wow, man.
Yeah. Unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So like things like that stick out to me. There was pitchers as well who, Matt Morris, he's a guy that he really had a big impact on who I was. He had some success in St. Louis, then we got him. And Zito was the same way a little bit. These guys, they knew what it took to go from good to great, in my opinion. And Righetti, he was another one. He's a pitching coach.
Of course, yeah.
And so these guys knew that like there was a certain level of detail and discipline that it took to bring yourself up from just being we don't want to be good, we want to be great, and if we have to, we'll fall back on being good. But we're striving to be great. And so like just in talking to these guys about their approach to the game, and the ebb and the flow of the season, and then just in observing them as a student of the game, I picked up a lot from them, and then applied it to my game. And like I mentioned, the a lot meaning like the discipline, and seeing them in big game situations rise up.
Yeah.
And just their physical and mental abilities coming out, and overcoming, adversity, because it is an adverse game.
Yeah, it is. Well, you learn from the best. So now let's get to where it starts to get a little bit dicey.
Yeah.
Actually, we go on to some pretty big news. Right before the 2006 season, you get that big contract. But also I want to know, was it pressure for you? Because at that time, it was the second largest deal for a pitcher who only had one full season of service. It was 4 years, option for 5, over $9 million. So with that confidence and feeling like I am part of this family, they want me here, did you also feel pressure to live up to that big contract?
Not at the time, no.
That's good.
Yeah, the contracts, they're really based on, because we can't base them on anything in the future because this hasn't happened, right? So really a contract is based on what your results have been, and not just yours, but maybe historically there's some, references that you can point to, but it's like, that's going to speak for itself after the fact,
That's a good way of looking at it. I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
So it's like you get in the contract based on what's happened, because we can't base it on the future. And then, but let's go out and create something new now, So it was that.
And you got a lovely bonus with that deal as well.
Yeah.
And I have to bring your dad back in here because I love this. You wanted to give that $1 million bonus check to your dad.
Yeah, they worked so hard for us, and they supported us coming up, and I wanted to be able to give back to them the way that they gave to us.
All right, so 2006, you're on top of the world. You're expecting to be a Giants pitcher for, years to come now. But that season began...
Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, here we go, starting with a series of injuries that really, I can't imagine what that journey and what you were going through. So tell me what happened that first start of that year.
It makes me grit my teeth just thinking about it.
Oh,
It's like,
man.
It feels so good coming in. And
I'm sorry.
No, it's part of who I am.
It is.
I don't like to say it, but I'm a glass house. I'm a glass house.
Well, welcome to the club, right?
You put all this time in, and I feel for guys that watch injuries unfold. It's like, because I know the amount of time and effort that these guys put into preparing themselves to be ready to play at that level. And it was the same. I was feeling good, and we had a couple games on the road, and I was like our 3 guy, so I got the opening day start at home.
Hello.
That was cool.
Right?
Feeling good, man, nuts. And then bing, bang, boom, I get this injury. And
the oblique.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, now what? Now we're going to have to start to claw our way back. And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It is, and things are going to come up. And eventually injuries took me out of the game.
Right,
but,
which you could never have foreseen after that oblique issue.
Yeah, because again, we can't predict the future. It's like, okay, an occurrence happens. I know that I'm hardworking. I'm gonna go put the work in, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to prepare myself to get ready again. And mentally, it strengthened me, because it's like you're gonna be faced with something. You can go one of 2 ways.
Exactly. So let's get into it. I mean, mentally and emotionally, how you dealt with all of this, because all of these injuries ultimately took you out of the game. That arm that got you drafted and into the majors is now, you can't use it anymore. It's now kind of let you down.
Yeah.
So, and I know you've been open about sharing how difficult it was to get over the fact that you could no longer play baseball. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. The transition out of the game was a difficult one for me. And I had made up all these stories about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be good. I've got all this stuff set up on the outside, and I'm thinking about longer term. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
No, okay. So reality is like, who am I now? Like, what does life look like? Like, what's next? What do I bring to the table?
Back to that kid you were in high school trying to figure it out.
It was the same patterns coming up again, right? Like the same things that I was facing going into the game, I was facing coming out.
Yeah.
It resurfaced.
Look how life
nailed
is.
it.
Look
you
at
nailed
that.
It.
Well, that's
It's beautiful.
Right. It's full circle.
Now there's nowhere to run, and it's time to address it.
But you had to do the work. You had to get down in it and do some
I did.
soul searching and all of that, right?
I feel like I made up that it almost took me out. Like, and part of me, I thought it was gonna happen. I had a panic attack.
Oh my gosh.
I thought, like, my heart was beating up. I'm like, what is happening here? Andrea, my wife, I'm like, you might need to call someone. I'm like, I'm just gonna go lay down. I'm not sure what's going on. I usually kept myself like pretty stable somewhat with just like either the highs or the lows emotionally. Like it just internalize them, which wasn't the best thing either.
Yeah.
But it all caught up to me
Yeah. Your body was saying.
And the body was like, yeah, this no more.
You gotta
can't
wake
do
up
this
here.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I had no clue where I was at in life, and like there was a lot of things that resource-wise I just didn't even consider thinking about. It was a whole new way of thinking. I knew how to go out and prepare myself on the field, performance-based, and I knew how to engage a team, and I knew what it took to get myself ready there, but wow, this other side of life I don't know anything about.
Right.
I've made up a story about,
Right.
oh yeah, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's all great.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality of it.
No.
And I don't know. I think that maybe it's that way for a lot of people in transition, but I don't know.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to what you're saying. Change is hard.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
What else are you doing up here? I know you're involved with the Junior Giants, by the way, which is so cool in Santa Rosa.
The Junior Giants are a huge part of my life, and the why behind that is that program and what it stands for, the life lessons that it provides kids, the opportunity that it provides them, and again, like confidence, integrity, leadership, teamwork, that applies everywhere. Like I apply that in the day-to-day life.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And then like reading and anti-bullying and health. It's like it's so well put together, and the fact that the Giants community stands behind it, and these kids are able to play for free.
Yeah. And these are kids in primarily underserved communities, which is huge too. They would never otherwise have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Pretty good place to be. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Noah, I can't thank you enough. What a great conversation. It has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Renel. I really appreciate it. The time is always enjoyed here. So thank you.
It's so good to see you, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you over these years. So thanks to Toomey Cellars for having us out here at their beautiful estate here. We should cheers.
What a beautiful location it is.
To you and your beautiful family, and continued blessings to you, young man.
Salud.
Cheers.
And go Giants.
Go Giants.